Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code ONEFREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Ashley Mailloux, taking a look at the first of two graded stakes races for 2-year-olds on turf at Santa Anita on Sunday. The Surfer Girl is race number 4. We're going a mile on the turf, a prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies turf. Before we take a look at the entries, remember this deal for DRFTV viewers. 10% off all DRF past performances. Use the coupon code DRFTV10. Shop now by accessing the QR code. Here's the field for the Surfer Girl. The 5 thought process, so impressive in both turf starts, Ashley. She's simply the one to beat.
Absolutely. Her numbers sort of tower over this field. And in terms of experience, sure, she has a couple more starts under her belt than maybe 2 or 3 others in here. But so far, what we've seen has been very impressive. And I know there's a couple horses that maybe scored last time out or tried really tough spots, but I still think she's the one to beat.
Not only is she talented, not only does she have the speed figures, but she has wonderful tactical speed and professionalism. We'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Kasalu, the number 2, was able to make the lead on Thought Process last time out. It didn't matter. Thought Process stayed within range and ran her over, and Thought Process is expecting to get a similar trip here.
And that's probably the trip that she wants. She doesn't need the lead to win. She likes to stalk the pace. And I think against this group, it's not a huge field. It's a little bit more compact than she's tackled in her last 2 turf efforts at Del Mar. She figures to get the right trip. And I think when you look at the 2 in here, Kasalu, the question is a little bit of distance. Those last 2 tries, ever since the 5 ace graduation score, she's needed more late. She hasn't found it yet. So maybe she can control things here on the front end. But I didn't think the fractions last time out at Del Mar, Dan, were all that quick. And she was 4th best in that field.
If the pace is hot, keep an eye on the Stranger, the 3 Tigerish, making her Southern California debut for Richard Baltus. She has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Another filly with a good late kick is the number 1, Jack's Magic Girl, who came from off the pace to win her career debut going a demanding mile. And the 3rd place finisher from that race came back to place in the Del Mar Juvenile Fillies with a 75 Beyer speed figure. So it looked like Jack's Magic Girl beat a pretty good field, and they showed a lot of confidence running her on dirt last time out, where she was far from embarrassed. She doesn't have a lot of speed, but she does have upside and a late kick.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that dirt effort. You can see she was cross-centered in a spot on Saturday, another big day out at Santa Anita this weekend. And to me, this is where I would probably run if I were the owner and trainer and have that opinion, Dan. I just think looking at her turf effort, she did everything right. She gets a little bit of a smaller field here. There's some big names in the other group. And I don't mind her effort, though, last time out. I think she gained something out of it. She was further back. In terms of the pace, and she still was able to make up ground. And we can't forget, she barely missed 3rd in that placing.
Kasalu is the expected speed. Ashley mentioned the gate to wire win, going 5 ace in the career debut at Del Mar, but the stamina just hasn't been there in her 2 subsequent starts. And last time out, you said it all. She was able to make the lead. She backed down the pace, and she was just no match for Thought Process. Watching that race, it's hard to take Kasalu over Thought Process unless you think she's going to improve drastically and get an easy trip.
Yeah, maybe the thought process is second time going long on the turf. There's some upside there. And I don't want to knock her, but to this point, she really hasn't impressed me the way that she did on debut. Her last 2, I just think she's lacking something. And when you look at how easy thought process won and the trip that she got, knowing that she can probably get it in this spot, to me, I can't use Kasalu on top.
Tigerish is the number 3, and we're going to take a look at her career debut at Horseshoe Indianapolis. This is a maiden special going 7.5 furlongs. I really like the way she sort of bowled her way through in between horses to get into contention, and now she runs right by the leader. She did take advantage of a seemingly solid pace to win this race. She was sold for $200,000 at public auction after this start, and then gained valuable experience running over a very tricky turf course at Kentucky Downs last time out.
Yeah, I'll draw a line through the Kentucky Downs race. We talk about this all the time. You just don't know if a horse is going to handle that track or not. And I think it maybe flatters her a little bit that the runner-up in that race at Horseshoe Indy came back to win at Saratoga, got a pretty good buyer of a 70, and then tried stakes competition once again towards the end of the meet at Saratoga and was 3rd and was rallying from off of it. So I think Tigerish is a little bit of a newcomer, as you mentioned here, and a little bit of a wild card. Surely would have to improve from a figure standpoint, but at least gained some fitness last time out, got back to the races, and now I think could take a big step forward, just making that second start since June.
And the number 4 is C'est la Vie Charlie, who pulled off a nice upset in her career debut, paid $50 winning this race going a mile at Del Mar. C'est la Vie Charlie has a lot of work to do at the 3/16 pole. This is a professional late rally to get up in the shadow of the wire.
You can't count out Georgie P right now. He's on a roll out at Santa Anita. He looked at some big prices in his races. And so you show that replay. There was some foul play in that race, but the horse was okay. And I think when you look at C'est la Vie Charlie's performance there, it was a good effort to close from off of it and showed a nice late kick, turn of foot. That was at the mile distance, obviously stays at that same distance. A wild card, I think you'll get a price, but as I mentioned, the barn's red hot right now.
Here's the horse. The number 5, Thought Process, the winner in both of her turf starts, including the juvenile fillies turf at Del Mar. She's shown a nice turn of foot in both races. Just watch her ease past Casalou, turning into the stretch here, and she stays about her business. She's now paired up 82 Beyer tops, and it really looks like she's a filly with a great amount of potential.
Absolutely. And, she wins here. Hector Barrios is still kind of just encouraging her to go forward, and she has no problem doing so. An easy win. We talked about she beats Casalou in there quite easily. It's just 4th best. And she's just really blossomed, I think, since getting onto the turf and stretching out around 2 turns. So pretty much similar trips, similar performances to what we've seen so far. And we talked about the figures. They've been 82s, very big numbers.
Big step up in class for the 6 Tequila and Therapy off a Calbred maiden special win, but it was her first time going long, and maybe she's just been waiting for a chance to stretch her feet around 2 turns. Let's watch Tequila. Well, actually, we won't watch Tequila and Therapy, but I'll tell you all about it. She saved ground every step of the way. She got to the outside. I like the way she kicked on home. Was she beating weaker company? Certainly, but I do think she has a little bit of potential at a price.
It was nice to see her get the distance, right, off of those 2 sprint efforts, 5.5 and 5 furlongs. And she was able to wrangle in the pace setter in that race at Del Mar. I was there when I watched it. And I remember getting beat by her, Dan, because I liked the runner up in that spot. And just to see her late turn of foot, she really handled the extended distance and added distance in that race. And I think, in terms of looking at some of the other horses, we've talked about a couple of them with a little bit less experience. At least she has those 4 starts under her belt. She's learned something. I think she's gotten better with each of them. And it seemed like a lot had to do with the mile.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Surfer Girl. This race kicks off a 50-cent midday pick 4 at Santa Anita. Thought Process is simply the horse to beat. She'd get 90% of my play in the pick 4, but Tequila and Therapy might be the kind of horse to outrun her odds. If she doesn't upset the field, maybe she could sort of split the favorites and get into the number.
Yeah, I think she has a big shot here. We kind of look at our top picks. The only difference here is our top 2. We just flip them around. I found it tough to go against Thought Process. We talked about it in terms of the trip, where she figures to be positioned early. Her experience now, 2 tries at the mile distance. She's hard to knock. But in the case of Tequila and Therapy, I said it. I liked what I saw from her last time out. I thought the trip worked out really nicely. I think her rider's gotten along with her in these last 2, and maybe a blossoming type.
5-6-2-1 for Ashley, 6-5-2-1 for me. It's the Grade 3 Surfer Girl kicking off a 50-cent midday pick 4, and it's a potential prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Hey, let me give you a hot tip. If you liked the content that you've seen before, click on the like and subscribe button right here. And of course, for more DRF videos like Race of the Days, stakes previews, click on the videos right here.